Hello, dear speakers and participants. Thank you for joining MMCO-Shakespeare conference and our particular session, Going Beyond Transforming the Typical Textbook Lesson into Contemporary One. My name is Irina Solonova. I'm a founder and CEO of Ruspro Education and head of the programs Russia Didact and Finnish Education Marathon. And today I will be hosting this session. We have just finished the previous session, which was about the tools that a teacher could use for English language lessons. And we have heard lots of ideas about the tools, but our particular session is dedicated to the question how to make this practical transformation from textbook, traditional lesson to a contemporary one. And we have 4 wonderful speakers who have wide experience in this. So I hope that today we will listen to about 4 transformation stories of how to change the traditional practice. And I will start by telling some rules to our participants that you can post whatever questions, ideas or comments you have to our speakers in the chat. And then the moderators of the chat will show us some of the questions and we will be able to answer them in the end of our session. And let us start by asking the question. I hope you will see it on your screens. And the question is the following. We all have been living in the changing environment. I mean that there are lots of social and digital changes that we have been experiencing during the last decade. So is it obligatory for a teacher to use some contemporary techniques, or it's just up to a teacher? So I will ask our participants who are listening to this broadcast to answer to this question in the chat, and perhaps our speakers could also reflect about this question and how they feel about this. Okay. So right now I would like to give a floor to our first speaker, Елена Пересада, game educator, founder of Trendy English Games, educational games for learning and teaching English. Елена, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for introduction and thanks for inviting me to this wonderful event. And answering the question which you asked at the beginning, of course, I think that all the teachers, we should use all new techniques and all new tools in our classrooms if we want to stay on the cutting edge in our profession, maybe. Okay, and today I'm going to talk, I like calling myself a game educator, and today, of course, I'm going to talk about games, and I'm going to talk about how games can help us in our lessons. And my focus today will be on tabletop role-playing games, and what it is, I'm going to tell a little bit later. Okay, so Irina has already introduced me, so let's get to the topic of the presentation. So we all teach students, and it doesn't matter what age groups we teach, young learners, teens, or adults. So the main question for us as teachers is how to make them speak. So our students can be very good at vocabulary, grammar, but especially when you work with teens, I believe that you've got some problems in making them speak, talk, express their ideas. As well, this is one of the most difficult, I think, audiences in terms of getting open to a teacher and to the audience. Okay, so many teachers use traditional role plays at the production stage. So we study some phrases, we study some vocabulary, then we've got that practice stage, so we drill everything. Our students are happy, so you as a teacher, you are happy with the way they use this or that phrases, and then this is the production stage. And so we want them just to speak fluently and to use the language which you studied with your students. Okay, so what about role plays, and why I don't really like traditional role plays which many teachers use in their work? So role plays work very well with little kids. If you role play a situation in a shop or at the doctor's, they're quite happy with it, as they never do it in their real life. They never go shopping without their moms and dads. They never see a doctor without their parents, and they feel really excited to role play this kind of stuff. When we work with adults, they are more or less okay with role plays, as they understand the purpose of the role play. Okay, today I will role play a situation in a shop, and tomorrow on my business trip in London, I will feel much more comfortable. Well, actually, this is not true, but at least this is the idea which they've got in their minds. But when you work with teens and when you ask them to role play a dialogue, so palm phrase, so this is what you will see. Oh, for sure. Okay, so why it happens? So role play, it's not like it's not a real life situation. It's just a dialogue which you act out. Well, actually, this is what it is. And what role plays lack? They lack this game element. There is no game. So you role play, you just read out, you act out, and everything is predetermined. You know what to expect. You know the phrase which your opponent will give you, and it is too far from real life situations. In real life situations, and when you find yourself in real life situations, you can get really stressed as you don't know the script. So, and the element of game, it helps us to give this kind of unpredictability to the situation which we role play. So this is a very simple example of one of the games created by Trend English Games, by my company, or we used to be called StudyCraft. So this is just a dialogue in a shop. Each student gets a character card with the name. And on this character card, also you've got some other information. You've got the color which you like, you got the color which you hate, your clothing size, and your budget. And then you just go shopping, and the rules are like this. So the winner is the person who can buy more things than anybody else, okay, using, well, the money which you've got. And you've got only 6 rounds, 6 days of a big sale. So if you can't buy like 6 or 7 things within clothes items within these 6 days, so you lose. Okay, and so the game starts. So you have to make a lot of decisions. You have just to evaluate, okay, should I buy this expensive piece of clothes, or should I buy just 2 or 3 cheap ones? So what can I do? How can I do it? So, and you can't just role play. You don't know, well, exactly what to say. Well, actually, you don't, nothing is written. So you react on the spot. But this is not a tabletop RPG. This is just a very good role-playing game with a goal, with a game goal and educational goals blended together. So if you want to find more information about good educational games and have a look at them, you can scan a QR code, which you can see on the slide, and just to get more information. So I want to discuss with you some theory behind the problem. Why is it so difficult just to make our students talk in real life? So there are different types of stress. Actually, we can talk about bad stress and good stress, or scientifically they are called distress and eustress. When you role play a dialogue, so your students are in this first part of the diagram. They don't experience any stress at all, and they can even be bored as nothing interesting is going on. Then if they are in real life, when they go to London, when they talk to natives, they experience distress. The level of cortisol goes very high in their blood, and it blocks all memory centers in the brains. That's why they can't remember anything from what they studied before. And so our goal as teachers is to keep our students all the time in this kind of eustress. When there is some kind of stress, but our students can feel that it is not overwhelming and they can handle it. So we should keep the level of cortisol at some certain point in the bodies of our students. This is very important for us as teachers. And how can we do it? I do love tabletop role-playing games. So this is a game which you don't have a plot. Well, you've got a plot, but you don't have a script. You don't have a scenario. It's a kind of interactive story which unfolds when you play it. As a teacher, you just create some basic plot elements and your students face different challenges, and it is their task just to say and to explain how they are going to overcome these challenges. And of course, they need to use the target language when they play a game. I will give you an example. So this is the game which I often use to explain other teachers how to play role-playing, how to play tabletop RPGs and what it is. Imagine the situation. So you study with your students prepositions of movement, A2 level, or well, maybe A1 plus level. So you can see the prepositions on the slide: through, into, out of, across, over, and some other words. Okay, you have already presented these prepositions to your students, and you have done a number of different drilling exercises. So your students are more or less familiar with this language. Now you need some authentic output, which is quite difficult to create in the classroom. And so a game, this is a perfect example of an authentic output when you think about your game goal and you don't think about the language. And the story is like this. There is a princess, and this princess is kidnapped by a dragon. And the dragon takes the princess to a tower far, far away. And the dragon might eat this princess for lunch or for dinner. So you ask your students, do you want to save this princess? Okay, and depending on the age of your students, you can say, okay, this is a beautiful girl you want to save, or if you work with older students, you can say, this is a little girl who is 6 and she's crying and she wants to get back to her mommy. Okay, it just try to involve your students into just to put them into the situation. And your students, they start their journey. They walk along the road. You can see this road on the map. And on both sides of this road, they can see brick walls. Okay, they walk along and they can see a hole in the road. And then you ask your students, okay, what are you going to do now? And this is the moment when they have to use the target language and they can't do without it. They can say, okay, we can jump over the pit. Jump over, this is our target language. Okay, I say, yes, you can do it, but let's try to jump over it. And my students, they roll the dice. I use a 20-sided dice. And if the result on the dice is 15 or more, that means that the action which they offered is successful. So they roll the dice. If it is like 16 or more on the dice, okay, you could jump over the pit. But if the result is lower, and more often the result is lower than 15, okay, I can say to my students, sorry, but you fell into this hole. So what are you going to do then? And then they again come up with different ideas. Okay, I can climb out of the pit, or somebody can pull me out of the pit. Okay, so explaining this, the actions, they have to use the target language. Okay, they could get out of this hole, and they keep on working, and they come to the river, and they can see a crocodile, and there is a boat on the other side of the river. So I created this obstacle to induce across, maybe swim along the river, well, go along the river, go across the river. Well, I want my students just to come up with some ideas when they can use that kind of prepositions. And when they are done with this obstacle, they come up to the final obstacle. There is a tower, and the princess is in the tower, and there is gate in this tower, and the gate is broken. It goes up and down all the time. So how can they get through the gate? So, okay, they come up with different ideas. So you see, as a teacher, I just create the environment where there are some obstacles, and just to explain how they are going to overcome these obstacles, they need to use the target language. Well, actually, we have already created a number of different games to practice different kind of vocabulary and functional language. And if you want to try and want to play some of them, you can join my Telegram channel. So here is the QR code. I will just put some scripts for these games and slides for them, and you can try them with your students. Okay, so that's what I was going to say about my idea of going beyond the traditional lesson, going beyond traditional role plays, and adding some game elements to them.
Thank you so much, Elena. It was very interesting. And finally, I understood the difference between real games and artificial games when the children can
games, I like the name.
Yes, when children can predict everything. Do you usually prepare these games for every new lesson, or is it a set of ready-made games that you just offer to your community?
Okay, well, we've got some ready-made games, just a few of them. But usually you prepare, you create your own game for your students based on the language which you study with your students. Well, actually, we get together those who are interested in, like, maybe once a week or once in 2 weeks, and we work on the games, and then we try them out with our students, and we just keep the best games just to make sure that other teachers can use them as well.
And how long does it take to prepare a game like this, for example, that you have just presented?
Okay, well, to prepare that game, it took me about 10 minutes. Okay. It's just, I thought about, well, but of course there are some more challenging tasks, and well, usually it takes up to 3 hours. Of course, I don't use the, that's why it's not worth just working on your own and just preparing one game only for your students. So if you spend some time on creating this game, just share it with other teachers. And if they have done something useful, they can also share it with other teachers. So that is the power of community.
I see. Yes, really, you need the community in order to improve your creativity, I think. Because I have noticed that not many teachers are able to play with kids. Usually it is quite rather hard for teachers to play. So I hope that in your community you also motivate teachers to play more and give them some specific tools how to play.
Yeah, so and this is the first, so what we should, if you want just to add some games to your lessons, so the first thing to do is just to start playing yourself just for pleasure.
That's a very
Every Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, we run a free event, 8 o'clock just before work. So we play different games. Like every Friday, we started it on the 24th of April when lockdown happened. And since then, we haven't missed any Fridays.
Amazing. Very good. Thank you so much, Helena. That was very interesting to listen about your experience. And I hope that some of your ideas will be accepted and picked up by those who are listening to us today. Okay, and now we are moving to our second speaker, to Peter Stepichev, Executive Director of NATE Association. Please, Peter, tell us some words about NATE for those who still don't know. And as far as I understand, your speech is about pedagogy of surprise. So we're expecting some surprise right now. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning, colleagues. Yeah, today we're speaking about surprise because I'm sure we should surprise our students. If we don't surprise our students, they will not surprise us with their great results. So, and I also represent NATE. Yeah, I had this whole session about that. NATE is National Association of Teachers of English. I believe teachers should be together, and I'll show you one of the tools that is a metaphor of how teachers collaborate and what this collaboration can mean for any of the teachers. So I'll do it just in the process of presentation. And before that, let me show you how many of our students and some of the teachers and some of the officials imagine the future of education. When we speak about education in 100 years, some people speak about robot teachers, so we don't need humans anymore. Some people speak about using their mobile phones as the main medium for teaching. And definitely many of us give preference to the internet as the main way of teaching and learning. And that is the result of my experiment when I Googled past simple and found millions of examples. But still, I do believe that students need real teachers, because people need people. And my focus and my belief is that a teacher should first of all be an interesting person and go and use in the process the emotions, use emotions as a tool. So the role of a modern teacher is to humanize material, to add personality to the material, to appeal to emotions, and to build relationship. So when you love the process, you love English, you may start with loving English, or you may start with loving a teacher that delivers you English, but there should be passion in this process somehow. Because the most difficult, challenging situation is when a student at the lesson is bored, because a bored student is almost a sleep student, and the sleep students, when they are asleep, they don't study at all. So it's all about emotional intelligence. It's about the ability to perceive emotions, to understand emotions, to manage emotions, and to use emotions at the lessons. I'll show you a few surprising ways to teach. I developed the idea of surprise pedagogy. I focus on surprise because surprised people are not indifferent. When you're surprised, you're not indifferent. And when your surprise dwells in a safe situation, a safe environment, it can turn into interest. And interest is something we really need. Here in the picture, we see a few tools. We see packages of juice, and the task was to substitute all Russian names into English names. So that was a project for my students, and they did it, and they sent me great pictures. And that was very interesting because, first of all, they looked at the names that are around them from a different angle. They made it all English. Sok Любимый turned into favorite. Sok Sochная Dolina turned into Peace Valley. And what's more, when their parents opened the fridge, they saw everything in English, and they realized their students are learning English hard. That is really good for tutors, for private English schools, because we need to let parents see that their students are involved. A few more ways I'll better show without a presentation, just in person. That is a grammar mug. I'm sure we should not just teach grammar, we can also drink grammar. So what I do at the first lesson of English, I take any orange drink with me. I'll not advertise this particular drink. It can be anything orange. When I open it, it gives this psh sound. And when it gives the psh sound, students start noticing. They look at me and it's like, what's going on? What is he going to do? So when I do the same, you see, these are words. I can do the same, like putting it on the table, like a table, putting it not on the table, writing on the board as a table. But students will not notice that. If I do it like this, here we have imperative. We add even more, and we have affirmative sentence. And it gives this sound still, so students can really feel what's going on. They can look at the grammar from a different angle. We add even more, and now it's a general question. If we look from up, down, yeah, and we add more, and it's a special question. So now it's a special question, and students will never skip do or did, because if you skip it, it means you have Fanta and no Fanta here and Fanta again. So just imagine, can you make this sentence without do? It's impossible. If students say a sentence like do or why you eat, like in Russian, why you eat, or why you eat it, instead of did, they usually say like why you, when they helped. You may ask your students to drink a little grammar, and they see that they make general question out of special, but it's impossible to make a sentence where you do not do not have something in the middle. That is a grammar mug. One more thing you need, especially need in winter, is the tool called grammar gloves. So this finger we use to point. We say, for example, read. This finger is the longest, it's in the middle. That's why we use it for subject. You read. This little finger is like little kids. They usually ask questions. Why you eat? And this finger, in English, it's called a ring finger, and I do use it. But in Russian, it's called безымянный. It doesn't have any name in Russian, actually, безымянный. That's why we put something that we do not translate from English into Russian. And we have a sentence like this. So students literally put grammar on their fingers. And what's more, this grammar is tender. I wish you could feel it. It's fluffy. It's so tender to touch. Grammar should be tender. Grammar is not about something boring. Grammar should be tender and nice to touch. One more tool I love is my patented grammar cube. That's it. 16 elements can make up to 364 sentences. And all sentences are correct. It's impossible to make a mistake. And that's where I wanted to use it as a metaphor for our teachers community. If 16 teachers meet and start collaborating, they have 364 ideas. So it's multiplicator. That's how our community works. That's how communities of English teachers work in general. A few more sophisticated ways of teaching grammar. This one is magnetic grammar cube. So grammar can be magnetizing. And this one is a 3D cube. And we can teach that grammar is a system, is a structure. It's not like a random and very long list of rules. For example, we are helping someone, and you change just one bit, and we are helped by someone. So we are in the passive position. And you can actually use it like this. Or it can be even dangerous. Just show your students, we are cooking. You just flip it over and we are cooked by cannibals. So you see, grammar can be dangerous. And students can see it easily. It's not about writing the rules. It's about just manipulating with your own hands. It's about touching things. And one more surprise, I'll still show it in person. It's quite easy, and I'll teach you just now. I guess if you watched my presentations offline, you've seen this kind of trick. I can make things fly. I love making things fly. I take a book or, okay, let me take this book, Magic Wheel. Oh, it's called Magic Wheel. It's not because it's just magic and it's really a wheel. It's because it can fly. So I put it on my hand. I say, fly, please, and it can fly. And it's not about camera. It's not about Zoom. It's what you can do in offline lessons, at your offline lessons. You can even shake it, and it will not fall. And I will show how I do it, actually. That will be our secret, okay? Don't tell your kids, because kids should not know the way you do it. If they don't know, they're still surprised, and they will try many, many more objects, and they will want to do it. And the last but not the least, so it's here. You can take a print screen of it. It's one more magic spell. based on mathematics. You can think of any number. Actually, you can do it now. Think of any number from 1 to 10, let me say. Then double it, add 10, divide your result by 2, and subtract the first number. You can do it now. And if you get, as the result, if you get 5, all your New Year wishes will be granted. So you can make a wish and it will come true. I assure you, because I'm a magician, and we can check it. We can meet at the next conference and share, like, if your wishes had been granted. So I do believe that we should find a way to surprise our students. Definitely the key to this surprise is different for different age groups, for different situation, contexts. But on the whole, this idea is quite universal and applicable not only at the English lessons. I believe it should be the philosophy of education of the 21st century, because if you don't surprise, it's more about robot teaching. Thank you so much. I'm ready for the questions or any kind of feedback.
Thank you so much, Peter. It was so fun and so interesting, actually. And I'm sure that your students, if you have still run real lessons, they're really enjoying your lessons. Very interesting. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, I have my own question to you. The first one I will repeat. Is it a duty of a teacher to use some modern tools, or is it just a goodwill or just free choice?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, it's a bit crazy answer, but still, I believe that the most important for the teacher is not just to be very up to date or know everything. The most important is to find something that works for you. I'm kind of hedonist in the field of education. I believe that only a happy teacher can teach effectively. If a teacher is told what textbooks to use, how to teach, if teachers are limited all the time by officials, by administration, by everything, by the situation around, they become not so effective. A teacher should be given enough freedom to be a great teacher. So if he or she, and that's one more point about the games. That's very true, that if you enjoy the games yourself, you can teach games really effectively. And some teachers, they first need to love it themselves. So first love your tools and then use it.
I see. This is exactly what Elena actually meant when we discussed that a teacher should play also for themselves, not only for their students. But I have noticed that you have quite high requirements to English language teacher. They should be emotionally intelligent. They should be happy. So that's really a role for a teacher, actually. That's interesting. Okay, perhaps some other speakers have questions to Peter. Not so far. Okay. Perhaps thinking about how to use your tools. Still, I have one question to you, Peter. We quite often we are talking about fun during lessons. It's not only about English language lessons, about every lesson, math, physics, whatever. Yeah. But do you think there should be any kind of proportion or balance between fun and some hard work?
Well, definitely it's age specific. But on the whole, I'm even not for fun as the only emotion. I'm for any emotion except the neutral attitude. I believe that, again, that's kind of crazy, but I'm online, so you will not throw things at me. I believe that even scared students are better than students that feel no emotion at the lesson. So they should feel any kind of, but again, that's debatable, definitely. But I'm definitely for surprise, which is the priority of emotions.
I see. Thank you. Yelena, would you like to comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peter, actually, I had this opinion as well that scare is better than boredom. But then when I started investigating and researching the topic, I just realized that cortisol and different other things which happen inside our body when we are stressed, they just prevent us from thinking. You know, neocortex stops working and learning happens only in this part of the brain. That's why, it is necessary to be like stressed, but a little bit stressed. So you don't need to beat your students, yes, but you can scare them in some milder. Well, in games, yes, we scare people. And an interesting thing with our brain is that the experience that we've got in the game, well, any imaginary experience is similar to our brains as a real life situation. So if we live through something in the game, so we get just the same amount of experience as if we really live through a situation. And talking about fun, well, actually, the thing is that usually we, like teachers or humans, we think that, well, there is fun and there is only one type of fun, but there are different types of fun. Easy fun, serious fun, people fun, hard fun. So this is a theory created by Nicole Lazaro, which I really love. And well, Piotr, he showed us there's a perfect example of easy fun. So this is the first step. This is what you have to start with. First of all, you have just to surprise your students, yes, and to get them out of this state of apathy and boredom. And then, only then, you can work with all other types of fun. And actually, hard fun, this is when you are in pain, you struggle, and you enjoy it. And this is what good games do.
Okay.
Great.
Very nice comment. So now we have typology of fun. Also, one more insight for our participants. Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you for your comments, Yelena. And we are moving to the next speaker. And actually, we have two speakers from legendary school from Russia, of course, the new school. And both Yelena Basaria and Daria Semizorova will have different speeches, actually, because I was told by Yelena and Daria that they're different people and they have different approaches and different experience. So, Yelena, would you please start by perhaps a little bit long introduction of yourself and your experience, and please tell us how do you in practice transform the typical textbook lesson into something interesting, fun, inspiring, and whatever you do in your interesting school. Thank you. The floor is yours.
So hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me to give a talk at this conference. I'm an English teacher at the New School in Moscow, which is a private school, and we usually use courses by British publishing houses there, but I used to be a teacher at a state school in Moscow some years ago, and I believe I know the challenges school teachers face nowadays. These challenges concern the material available and the curriculum, with the limited number of lessons to cover a wide range of topics. Everyone knows about communicative approach in language teaching, which is rather popular nowadays. Teachers realize that students should use the target language, such as vocabulary items or grammar chunks, in a meaningful way to activate this target language. And as it was said, they should enjoy this process and have fun. Still, school teachers merely have a chance to foster communication in a classroom, as they almost have no time for speaking activities if they follow the regular procedure of lessons offered by course books or offered by their course procedure from the administration. At the same time, many teachers tend to focus on literacy but not communication, as there are many resources to master literacy, such as workbooks, grammar books, supplementary materials, and even Russian state exam preparation papers starting from year 5 or 6. Moscow or Russian Electronic School is a great resource too, and it provides teachers with even more exercises for their students. And this is quite good, especially in these times of pandemic. as now there are ideas for almost any online lesson within the curriculum. But the question is, do our students enjoy such lessons? So my talk, let me share my presentation, please. My talk is going to be about school textbooks and materials, and I will try to answer the question if it is possible to have enjoyable and student-centered lessons. So the question is, can we take the maximum out of our textbooks and learning material available at school? As an example, I have chosen Module 4 from Starlight 5. This is the course book which many Moscow schools choose. Actually, it can be called as City Stars as well. And I've decided to focus on the first 3 lessons. They cover a wide range of material. If we follow the course procedure, we are advised to start the module from the vocabulary bank, which is available on the website by the publishing house Prosveshchenie. The next lesson is also on some vocabulary related to traveling, and students are supposed to revise grammar, present simple and present continuous and in contrast. There is listening, and this third lesson is on reading and speaking a little bit. Students will read postcards from Peter, who is in Mexico, and at the end of the lesson, students are supposed to give a talk and to speak about Mexico the same. But will they really have a chance to use all this vocabulary? Because 3 lessons contain a great number of vocabulary items, and students will need to revise grammar at the same time. I would advise to not to concentrate on the procedure itself, but to study the course book and to think of it as a resource of material. And I would start the 3 lessons vice versa with introducing Peter and showing the map. So, well, this is a course book for year 5 students who may not know where Mexico is, and it's rather difficult to read, to imagine where Peter is if they don't even know where Mexico is. You can talk about the weather in Mexico and introduce the vocabulary from the vocabulary bank, or you can elicit vocabulary from your students because they might know some things like hot, warm, cold already. This could be a nice lead-in, so students will see the picture of Peter. This picture is taken from the course book, actually. Then I would advise, or I would suggest to get some pictures from the internet and to show them, to explain what Mexico is, and pre-teach new vocabulary, which is from the vocabulary bank or from the first pages of the module. You can ask some questions, or you can introduce a matching activity here. You can ask what is there in the pictures and talk about beaches, city, volcanoes, snow-capped mountains. This is the vocabulary from the unit. You can ask about the weather. You can ask about activities that tourists can do in these places. Then students can read postcards, and this reading activity can be done as jigsaw reading, when students are divided into 3 groups, for example, and each group reads a postcard. Then students can mix and interact and find out about other places that Peter has visited. A teacher may prepare a worksheet for this activity so that students have some questions to ask, or it can be just done on the spot. So students just talk together and find out. Listening is also available for this part of the unit, so students can listen to the audio at the end to check the answers. Freer practice is important, and this is what teachers usually don't have time for. It's quite difficult because you see this vocabulary lesson or reading on vocabulary lesson may take more than half an hour, but I really try to have enough time for free practice at my lessons. It should be planned. If I plan 10 minutes for it, I usually have just a couple of minutes. But anyway, if you don't have time for free practice, just ask your students where would they like to go and why. Then they can respond to this question in a meaningful way and to share their personal ideas and use the vocabulary, which can be written on the whiteboard or can be shared on the screen. Students can exchange their ideas in pairs and mini groups, of course, if there is enough time for it. And the teacher should monitor the discussion and give his or her feedback on the ideas and the language used at the end of the lesson. I have covered just one lesson out of the three given by the course procedure. Here are the possible lessons that can follow. There can be a grammar lesson, and you can use the postcards and discuss grammar structures in the postcards because there's present simple and present continuous used there. You can have a vocabulary lesson, and students can talk about traveling and the weather, and discussions can be organized. There can be a writing lesson so that students write their own postcard. There are many resources available to master literacy, but not communication. And I should say that a teacher should give a chance to the students to speak English in the classroom, because mostly this is the only place where students can use the language. At the end of my talk, I'd like to share some resources, free online resources that I use myself and find valuable myself. These are mostly videos. You know, when I was looking through Starlight, I also noticed that videos available on this course are a bit outdated. For example, in Unit 3, I think, there is a video about British schools with computers that are about 20 years old, and teenagers and school children usually get bored when they see such outdated things. So maybe course books available at school should get some more support from other resources and videos. So I really advise to use National Geographic classroom resources, which are free. And there is a course book. There is a course close up, which is rather rather focused on exam preparation. But still, they have free videos available on their website, and they integrate into Starlight really well. For example, for year 8 Starlight in the first module, they offer there's a text about disasters, and Close Up B1 Plus level offers a video about tornado chasers. These videos match school courses. I also advise using teaching and learning resources from Cambridge English and Cambridge Learning Management System. It's mostly for Cambridge courses, but any teacher can register there and see the resources available for Cambridge courses. TED Talks and TEDx are great resources. Great Big Story YouTube channel and Story Corps are great resources too, where you can offer your students authentic material and real people talking about themselves. For younger learners, I would advise Storyline Online and Books application. They are available for free too. And secondary schools children can read the books on englishereader.net. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Thank you so much, Elena. You just like it was like a present from you to many teachers in this country who are using Starlight every day. Very good example of how you can add some activities to Starlight basic materials and then transform your lesson. Very interesting.
Thank you.
My question is, do you really use Starlight in your school? Because I suppose you have some other materials, some other textbooks.
Well, as I said in the beginning of my speech,
yes.
We do not use Starlight. We have a chance to decide ourselves, which is really great. And we have groups of different level in each year. So, for example, there are absolutely fluent speakers in year 5, and there are groups of A2 level in year 5 too. So we can mix the groups and we can adjust the textbook. We can choose a textbook not only just because it's from British publishing house, but because it suits this particular group. This is a great opportunity, as I know state schools require all children follow the same course, or they can choose from a number of courses, but generally year 5 or year 6 or year 7, so they use the same course. And some children feel that it's too challenging, and others can be bored with the material as they are more experienced users of English.
Yes, that's clear. Of course, as the new school is a private school, you have more freedom to choose the best materials that you would like. You think are the most effective. Perhaps state schools do not have this freedom.
But I'd like to add that it's the teacher who's the most important figure. Material can be different. It can be good, it can be not so good, it can be a little bit boring. But now we have lots of free resources online to add to the course. And the teacher is the person who makes the lesson entertaining and productive and effective. And the teacher chooses the material and the way to present this material to the students.
But could you please share your experience? Any teacher can use very standard materials actually and textbooks and add nothing more. Yes, it's up to a teacher, obviously. Should we just, or is it possible to force a teacher to use some games or some extra tools or some to generate some new ideas, or is just a personality, creative personality? What is your experience?
Well, I believe no one can be forced to be creative or to use to have entertaining lessons. So usually, there are many young teachers who are creative just because they have just started working with kids or students, and they want to find different solutions to make their lessons entertaining. But I believe that the community can inspire teachers to be more creative. And this is what this conference does in particular. So when we speak about different options, how the skill material can be used, we may inspire someone to not just to follow the course procedure offered by administration, but to look through the textbook yourself and ask yourself if it is possible to make good lessons with what you have.
Thank you for this answer. Actually, inspiration is perhaps exactly what some teachers are looking for and what they need actually. And the example that you are giving now perhaps could be this trigger to spark the creativity and to inspire teachers for something new, for something interesting, even if they still work in state school and don't have such a variety of tools that they are freely using. Thank you so much, Helena. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was very interesting to listen to your experience and your recommendations. And now we are moving to our last but not least speaker, Daria Semizorova from the New School, English language teacher. And actually your topic, Daria, is very challenging. I believe that writing is a challenge for many students, and is it possible to make it fun or to do something different than the practices that are used in ordinary schools? So Daria, please.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I hope that you can hear me well and everything's okay and you're in a good mood. Yeah. And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to have a chance to share my expertise and experience here. And the answer to your question is definitely yes, you can make your writing lessons fun, and I'm going to tell you about how to do these. But first, I would actually like to answer your first question you asked at the beginning of our session. And I have to say that duty is such a strong word with such a negative meaning, like something is a duty, you have to do it. And I think that nothing should be imposed on teachers, and for me, I find like experimenting during my lessons, I see that this is as a source of inspiration for me. It helps me to stay resourceful during my lessons, during the planning of my lessons, and it helps me not to burn out, before the end of an academic year. This is the time when you should burn out, and then you have your holiday and recharge your batteries. So today, as you said, I'm going to focus on writing, and I guess that we have a wonderful picture here because we already focused on speaking, vocabulary, on grammar, and I think that this would be a final touch, final reasonable touch as writing. Yeah. So I need some time to share my presentation. Just a moment. Yep. So as I said, sorry, my presentation is. Excuse me again, there are some technical problems. My presentation is going to be on writing, and it's not going to be something special, but mostly some main tips on what I would recommend teachers to do during their writing lessons. And I think you can all imagine your students' faces when you pronounce during your lesson that you're going to write a letter, or you're going to write an email or an essay or something like this. Your students look unenthusiastic and prepared to spend the most boring 40 minutes of their life. But you can actually change this attitude as you are responsible for the magic happening in your classroom. And I think that, sorry, I'm terribly sorry, there is a problem. What you can do is to help them to understand the reason why they are writing and to make this reason meaningful for them. For example, I can tell you a story from my teaching experience, from my teaching practice. My students, they were during the lesson, they, looked at their course book, and they kept moaning and complaining that the book has these small gaps where it's very difficult to fit in the words. And I was listening to them, and it struck me, wow, that's a really brilliant opportunity for a meaningful writing task, yeah? And I promised to them that we can write a letter to Oxford University Press, as at that time we were using Solutions book. And, they were so excited about it. I said we will do it at the next lesson, and guess how they started the next lesson? They started with the question, when are we going to write the email? And I think that this story just proves that you need to provide your students with a reason to write. And you may have the most productive lesson if you give your students the right reason and the reason that interests them particularly. Yeah. So I also think that it is always a good idea to personalize your writing tasks and let your students to share their own experience and their own knowledge. When, for example, you're planning your writing lesson, you need to take into account your students' background and your students' interests. You should always you should try to adjust your writing lesson to their needs and to their personality also. I think that our students are mostly used to writing some exam tasks, and they are used to an idea that they write to some imaginary people, like, for example, Peter, who likes books, or to John, who lives who has just moved to a new city, and they need to give some kind of advice to this poor guy who they even don't know. So writing should be meaningful, and your students should understand that there is a receiver, and that writing is just another way of communicating their ideas. It's not just for their teachers. It's not just for the mark to get. So another example I can give you from my teaching practice, and this time this is about my 8th graders. And I remember we were learning to write a letter of proposal, and the book task was to propose an idea of a celebrity who can come and give an inspirational speech to school leavers at their farewell party. Imagine 8th graders, farewell party. I think that doesn't sound like something meaningful to them. So I decided to change the task, and I asked them to make a proposal of a celebrity, but for the charity, which is annually, like a New Year charity, which is annually held in our school, and which provides them with a meaningful context, which is familiar for them, and thus they will be able to they are able to know what they need to write about. Yeah. For example, also how to make your writing lessons more meaningful. There is another idea. You can, for example, go to any Facebook community of teachers from all over the world, and you can see there that they offer their help, and they are willing to organize some email exchanges with their students. They sometimes say, for example, I have 6th graders. Would you like to share emails? Would you like to, share your experience with us? And I think that is great when they have a receiver, when they know who they're writing their informal email to. This makes this communication meaningful. Also, there are such websites as TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor is a wonderful site to use if you want to post, reviews of the places, reviews of the sites, maybe some foreign cafes, etc. This time, your students will understand that their writing will go public, and they will be more engaged to do it. Or, for example, there is a website, Rotten Tomatoes, where people post their film reviews, series reviews, etc. So, and I think what is of importance is that you don't need to think about your students' level too much, because even at pre-intermediate level, even at some lower levels, students can write at least a line, like this film was amazing, this film was interesting, but still they will have the receiver, and they will know that they have some real world communication, and writing is not imaginary as the people they write to. Yes, the writing is real, and this written communication happens in reality. I also think that as writing is such a time-consuming and a challenging skill, and your students put so much effort into it, so probably you should provide them with a meaningful, proper, good feedback. Yeah. So writing is much more than just correcting errors of your students. It is more about helping them to learn to write. And this correction should happen not only at the final stage, when the students have already produced this piece of writing. Yeah, so you can help them with the draft, you can help them with planning, you can help them with the writing process, like during the writing process. And it's not always something which is formal, you know, like you give a formal feedback. Yeah, so you can do it. It may be just an over the shoulder note, like, you see, you need to correct something. Yeah, and this is always nice. Also, you need to try to organize some collaborative work for your students. Yeah, so try to make peer corrections or peer check. Try to use, I don't know, different ways of collaborative work. For example, let me think. Let your students define and share with classmates, I don't know, some checklists, yeah, so they can do it together as a pair work or as a group work, yeah. For example, they can discuss their drafts of their writing, yeah, and they can check their writings. Yes, of course, not maybe mistakes, yeah, not in terms of mistakes, not in terms of error, but in terms of their content of their writing, yeah. I guess I told you all the tips, and to summarize, I'd just like to say that try to arrange some meaningful to your students purposes of your writing. Try to use some different internet resources like forums, like communities, different Facebook communities, social media, etc. Also, try to let your students share their experience and knowledge, and provide your students with good constructive feedback. Probably this is it.
Thank you so much, Dara. It was so inspiring and interesting, and actually I couldn't agree more. I agree with every word. So good tips and practical recommendations. Thank you so much. Actually, I was making notes during your speech, and I have noticed that we are mentioning the same words during the whole session, and these words are, let me please read them. It's play, it's interest, excitement, inspiration, creativity, happiness, meaningful, personalized. I mean that perhaps this is the answer to the question of our session, how to transform a typical lesson into something contemporary, something interesting and meaningful. But what I got is my personal insight that in order to have this contemporary lesson, effective lesson, we need to have creative and happy person who is teaching this lesson. Yeah, that is very interesting. I would like to ask all the speakers to have just a couple of words to summarize your insights, perhaps, from your side. If you don't mind, we could exchange our ideas right now. Elena Peresado, do you mind if you start?
I'm still thinking about Daria's present.
Yes, please comment if you...
Meaningful writing. You know, just writing is like the hardest. It's not only hard for my students, and maybe it is hard for my students because it is hard for me. I hate writing. It is it is really difficult for me to teach writing. Well, it is difficult to teach something which you don't like doing yourself, as I just can't inspire my students with it. And yeah, it is really it is necessary, yes, to feel pleasure in something, just to like doing something, just to inspire others. But thinking about meaningful writing, I know just an idea came to my mind, and that if you are so focused on this topic, you might find it interesting. There is a game, indie game, which was released on Steam. It is called Kind Words. Unfortunately, I couldn't start it on my Mac. But if you use PC, so the idea of the game is like this. So you get, it's like problem page, and you get some idea. So you read some problems from other people, and then you reply and you send stickers. So you get a number of stickers, and then you give it to other people. And so this storage of stickers is being refilled when other people send you these stickers. And I thought, well, even if we don't play it online, but maybe if you have a big school, you can recreate this environment, in-person lessons, maybe not online, but in person. And just, I would be really interested if somebody could try it and then share experience of using it with teachers, with real students. Just kind words. It's like mobile, not mobile, it's a PC game. Okay, and it is a real team. Okay. Just my takeaway from the session is just you do need to love what you do if you want to teach it.
Great insight. Okay, thank you. Peter, what about you?
Yeah. So that's one more example why teachers should cooperate, exchange. That's really great example of that. And all teachers are learners and should be learners. And we learn from, we should find what is this particular thing that is interesting for us personally, for our lessons. Every presentation we should think what exactly we can use. And that's a very important thing, because I know that I have students in the evening, and I will use some of the tricks I've learned today. So that is the most important thing, and that is my gratitude to the organizers of the conference that can give such insights. And teachers should be together like magnets and work together like grammar cubes.
Great. Thank you, Peter. Helena, what about you?
It was such a pleasure to listen to all the speakers, and I definitely didn't know about many tricks presented by Peter. They must be really real fun for teenage students and for kids in the classroom, especially when they are bored. This is a great way to get their attention right in the beginning of the lesson. I have heard of trendy English games before. I even have some myself. But it was also interesting to listen to the presentation given by Yelena. Really some good ideas mentioned there. And Daria, I know that you're a very creative teacher, and you use your lots of resources for students, not just course books. And it's always great that you share what you share. I did know some things myself, so I will definitely use them myself in my classroom. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Helena. Thank you. Daria, some words from your side?
Really, this was fantastic, and I really I listened to all the talks with so much pleasure. Yeah, and what I'd like to say is that going beyond this, like an ordinary lesson, is also, I think, like we need to understand that it is important what is happening in your classroom. Yes, for sure. But it is also important what is happening outside of your classroom, and you can also make it happen without being in the you don't have to be in the classroom all the time. You are a teacher everywhere and at home. Yeah, and you can help your students learn the value of communication outside the classroom. Yeah, like for example, as I said, using the internet, finding pen pals. Yeah, and doing a lot of playing games in English. Yeah, so just with their friends, probably. Yes, not in the classroom, but outside the classroom. Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think that in order to do all of this, the teacher should stay inspired, yeah, and the teacher should stay resourceful, and of course we should take care of ourselves, especially during this hard times, yes, during the time of pandemic, when we have to face new different challenges, yeah, like remote learning, like learning with different platforms, and learning new techniques, yeah, like this. Thanks.
Thank you. Very wise words. Thank you, Daria. Okay, so we are finishing our session, and I'm sure that we have given lots of ideas and inspiration and tips to those who are listening to us right now and who will be listening to us later. And the next session during the conference is about 21st century skills and how to include soft skills training into English language lessons. So I think there is a very good connection between what we have just discussed and what will be discussed during the next session. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. It was very interesting and during the preparation and right now. Thank you so much, and let's be in touch, and please.
Thank you.
Yes, keep safe. Okay, thank you so much.